Good evening, everybody. It's Kristin Cobb. I'm live here at Harbison Theater at Midlands Technical College in Columbia, South Carolina. It's muggy and rainy here, not any cold weather yet, but boy, are we in for a treat tonight. And me personally, I am so delighted to be a part of this conversation, The Artist on Lockdown. And I know those of you out there that have been following this program are thrilled tonight because we have Motown legend, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this lady is something to see. The one and the only, the lovely Thelma Houston, who was a guest here on our season last year and just blew the audiences away. We had such a great time with her. We had a sellout crowd, folks from Florida, all over the Southeast that bought tickets to come see this Motown legend. And it was a real highlight for me personally. So I was honored when they gave me a call and said, hey, are you available to talk to Thelma tonight so we can talk a little bit about what's going on in her world in lockdown as we all look after one another and navigate these difficult COVID era times. But let's get Thelma on the screen and talk a little bit about what's been going on with her. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. And let me tell you, she can still sing.
Thanks, Kristin.
I miss you. I told all the staff that we were doing this tonight and they all wanted to send their love and their best to you. You were, again, like a big highlight on our season. Just the tech crew, everybody. Not only did you bring your unbelievable enthusiasm and presence to the stage, you were a joy to work with backstage. And, you know, not all artists are that easy, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I had a great time there, too. I really did. And I had, especially with you. Yeah. We were chit-chatting and all that. Yeah. And I was so excited because it was sold out. I was like, oh my God, it's sold out. Remember taking those parking in front, taking the pictures of the sold out.
So we had some folks that pulled up in the parking lot and were so upset because they couldn't get tickets. So Thelma had just gotten through with her sound check. So she goes out and takes a picture in the parking lot with them. And they had driven from a couple hours away.
Yeah, but they were happy because they got the picture.
They got to see you, and they got to see you. Right. I mean, it couldn't have been a better night. And
it was great.
I do want you to share a couple of the stories. Thelma was some of the things that she tells throughout her Motown show are just amazing and things that I didn't know. I mean, I'm a little bit younger, but I will tell you, my daddy lived and breathed Motown, and every family vacation, that's all we listened to in the car. And and you telling me some of the stories about how you came up in the business and some of the folks you worked with, and of course your big hit, which I want to sing, baby.
My heart is full of love and it's not for you. well, that's kind of what my story is. Right? The story that I'm doing now is called My Motown Music and More. And it starts with for me, the idea of the show was in my old show. When I said old show, meaning before I started doing this one, I would do some Motown music, and it kind of started years ago, before I had a hit, and I was on tour with all of these big artists, and they would have hit after hit after hit. And I would come back and the audience would be gracious for me, but I'd have to work so hard. I would work, and they would be nice, but they would be like, so I came back and I told this to his name was Gil Askey, and Gil was the music arranger for like the Supremes and the Temptations and all those for their live shows, right? So I told him, what was going on, and he says, well, I know just how to fix that. And he put together this medley, which is now we have it down to 8 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But it's little snippets of every Motown hit that there ever was, right? And we put that in. By the time I finished doing that, I get a standing ovation.
I love it.
And it was because it was, everybody loves that music. And it worked international as well as here in the States. So that's why I started doing it.
Well, and you had the big program on, was it CBS that ran the Motown special?
Yes, it was the anniversary. It was Motown's anniversary. I forget what year.
Yeah, it was the 60th anniversary.
Yes. And so CBS did a big television special. And so, I always feel when they do the Motown things, there's a lot of, as it should be, a lot of time is given to the early Motown days, which was, of course, when it started. That's when everybody was talking about Motown, and of course, as they still are. But at that time, that was when it was all the thing, and so I feel a little, my time with Motown didn't happen until they moved to California, which was in the early 70s.
Okay.
So sometimes I have to say, okay, well, let's sit back. I'll wait. Let's wait till you get to the 70s. Let's wait. But then, as it turned out, I was the first female on the label to get a Grammy Award. So
that's a big deal. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know. I thought we had a clip from that show because I just remember how fabulous you looked in that gold dress, and I thought I want to look like Thelma in that gold dress one day. I mean, just so stunning. If we could, take a look. I mean, look at you. I mean, I know we've got a little clip of
singing her 1977 hit. Please welcome Thelma Houston.
I love it. I love it. But I tell people, I'm like, can you imagine going from that venue into my 400-seat venue here at Harbison Theater and what the audience got to see? Because your stage presence really is something else. And I mean, I see a lot of artists, but you have such a connection with audiences, your chemistry, you can see it on the stage in that big venue. But here, I mean, it was just so special.
Well, thank you. And that's because I'm so happy to be there.
Well, we're ready to get you back.
Really, I am one of those people, really, the artists. Honestly, I am so grateful that I get to do this, because to me, it's so much fun that I almost think, should I be having this much fun? Sometimes I have to say, okay, act like you're not, you gotta act different. Don't act like you're so happy. But I am just so thrilled and happy that every time the doors open, say, come on in, Thelma. I'm just, very happy about it.
Well, let's talk, and I do, if we have time towards the end, I do want you to tell them, there was one or two stories that you shared with me and with the audience that I just thought were poignant. But I want to mention, because, again, we are not able to do many live performances yet, and we're all still kind of here in our fancy offices and doing the best we can. So I know one of the things that you did more recently was a virtual tour. Again, all this we're putting these contents together virtually so that people have a way to at least bring some sunshine and some beauty into their life through music. So can you tell us a little bit about how that came to pass and how that's going now?
Well, it came to pass. I did a show for Pride, for San Francisco, for the Pride Festival.
Okay.
And the virtual, the people that's doing the promotion saw that show, and from that they decided that they wanted me to do a full show, and that's how it started. Okay. And so we did some of it here, in my home, and then some by a friend's. They tried to make it look like it was my pool, but it wasn't my pool. Some of it. Somebody's pool, but it was a lot of fun and a lot doing it, and it made me feel still somehow connected. It was different, very different, because for my show there was only me and the cinematographer.
Right.
Yeah, and my agent was somewhere over in the corner, on the cell phone doing something. And so I never right. But I kept saying, okay, the camera is the room. The camera is the room. Yes. And so that's how I played it. I'm sure that there must be other ways that to look at it, but that's what worked for me. I just kept thinking that was the room that I was playing to, was the camera.
Well, and I think that's to your point, where you don't ever get to replace that connection when you look in somebody's eyes and
that immediate response, and you tell a joke and they get it, they're right there, or right. You say, hey, how about it? Come on, put your hands, So
Can people still access the show? How does the virtual show? Do we have some of that?
I think you have. I think we Stephen gave you. It's the Wale WALE.rocks.com.
Okay,
and
great.
that's where you go to get the tickets. And a part of the proceeds from this is going to be donated to the Angel Food Project.
Oh,
I'm very excited about. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, all the way through 21. So that's terrific. Yeah, what a great.
Yeah, it's all the way through until January.
Yeah, terrific.
So have a little Thelma Houston party with your friends.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's the thing is, even though we are hoping as we move forward that we're going to get back to some face-to-face shows, but to have this virtual content and to have it up, and some people may just not be able to get out as soon as others, and so this is a way for them to still get to listen to you and to just have some connectivity.
Exactly. I get it that some people, it's a very iffy thing, and some people are just not comfortable about coming out, even with the mask and even with the social distancing, and I get it. So this is a way for those that are feeling that we need a little bit more time. This is a way for you to enjoy the show and enjoy a little more live music, and until you're ready to get out into the world again.
Well, and as of somebody that's at a venue, we're taking this, of course, extremely seriously. We want everybody to feel safe when we can reopen, and we want them to be confident when they're coming back in. And in the meantime, we actually just produced a virtual event for our little show off, our talent competition here on campus, and people just loved it, and they really did enjoy the experience of going online. They got to vote for their favorite contestant, and it meant a lot to not only the performers, but also those that were out there that really wanted to support them, and they had a way to do that, at least virtually. So,
exactly.
Tonight, right?
Exactly. And another thing I want to say for me, excuse me, is this being on lockdown or social or whatever we're calling this now with the staying at home. I have a new great grandbaby.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and so she was born in February, right?
Okay.
So I got to see her and hold her in February. Well, then March is when this came about. So I haven't seen her, but we FaceTime on the Zoom and FaceTime, and I was one of those like, I don't know Zoom, I don't. Oh, well, I was okay Zoom, all right. Okay, now what do I do? Oh, okay, now what? But that's a great way to stay connected, and I'm learning a lot more. Look, here we are.
Right.
I didn't even know Google Chrome. What is Google Chrome?
I love it. Well, it's true. I mean, a lot of people are getting much more tech savvy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it makes you do what you have to do. You got to keep going.
That's right. And you've done it your whole life, Thelma. You've done it your whole life. You've always kept going. You've always put one together. I also remember the night that you got here, because I picked Thelma up from the airport. I have I just love picking up the artists and having to get them to their hotel and make sure they're comfortable. And I remember when I picked you up, I think you had just it was either the night before or sometime that week, you had just performed with Smokey Robinson and somebody else at some big charity event.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, and now she's in my little Toyota and we're headed to Harbison Theater, so genuine and so kind, and all the people that you've worked with over the years. So there any obviously being the first female to do the record label, but what are some other highlights that
for me while I was on the label?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, just being on the label. See, this, like I said, I didn't join the label until in the early 70s. So all this, their first hit, the Smokies' first hit was 59 or 60.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And I'm living in Long Beach, California. And here's the thing. Those are my peers. We're around the same age, right?
Right.
But they were already into a career that I was dreaming about.
Wow.
So they were into their career. I had children. I got married. in that order. And but I'm saying I had a family and all that, and I thought, okay, this is not gonna ever happen for me. It's all over. But I kept at it, right?
Right.
Kept singing in clubs and in things around my area in Long Beach, and singing in a gospel choir, and things I just kept doing it. And the next thing I knew, there I was, and I toured with Smokey Robinson, and Smokey, I opened for Smokey at Carnegie Hall.
Oh,
yeah, and I toured with the Four Tops, and I toured with the Temptations, and Stevie Wonder produced me, and so all kinds of wonderful things happened.
When when you sang, do you know?
The do you know where you're going?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you told that story. I mean, I just cried. Well, I love that song. But the story behind it and your emotion, and I don't know if that's something you want to share now, but it was so touching, especially to hear you tell it live in that room.
Well, it just, these things happen, and it just, and you have to just, suck it up and move on. But what happened was, there was a songwriter by the name of Mike Masser, and Mike Masser had not been discovered. He was a very big hit, lots of hits, before he passed away, unfortunately. But this was when he first started, and as a writer, and Suzanne DePass, who was over the A&R department at Motown, saw his talent. She's a very bright woman, and she saw how talented he was, and so she put him with me. And so he was writing songs, and one of the songs that he wrote was "Do You Know Where You're Going?" and he produced it on me, and he did almost like a whole album. And but when the album was presented to be looked at as a possibility of you saying, because it was done sort of like a demo, right? But then they thought, okay, well, we don't see anything that's a hit on here that we can spend any more time or money on, and so they just pushed it to the side. And by that time I was so accustomed to having people say no, this is not a hit, that's not a hit, this is not it. So I just left it alone, and went on back to doing what I was doing, and back into the studio recording again. Well, later, like a short time later, that song was selected to be the theme song for the movie Mahogany, and it came out as a hit, and it was a hit for Diana Ross, and so that was at the time,
sure,
very heartbreaking for me. But then, but I guess it was a couple of years later, that's when I had the hit "Don't Leave Me This Way." So.
And things always work out, but yeah, that was a beautiful song.
Now let me just say this, because when I tell that story, I don't want people to think that it's like Diana Ross said, "Oh, well, that's the song I want to do." Bring it. I'm going to do that. I'm sure that she probably had no idea of what was somebody had recorded, because the song had not been released. Do you know what I mean? Right. So I don't want people to think that, but she picked it. I don't blame it. It was a good song.
I know that's one of those ones I'll pull up in a playlist from time to time and just sing like 3 or 4 times over.
Yeah.
Or cry a little bit, So we've got some folks commenting. Thank you for those of you that are tuning in to hear some of Thelma's stories. She's just a fascinating performer and just person in general. And, I was just thrilled when they reached out to me to talk to her tonight. So I appreciate those of you that are popping in and saying hello and how much they love Motown. Well, the other thing that I know that was sort of new that you recently produced was a song with Jimmy Webb.
Uh-huh.
And I watched the video a couple times. It's very powerful. And I think we should let folks see that may not have seen that. And you might want to give a little bit of the backstory on that Jimmy. One. And yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, let me just start. My very first solo album was recorded in 1969. Wow. And that album was written and produced by the great Jimmy Webb. Now, those of you that might not know who Jimmy Webb is, Jimmy wrote Wichita Lineman, By the Time I Get to Phoenix,
Yes.
Up and Away, MacArthur Park, I could go on and on. And so this was he was 21 years old at the time that he did this album. And he wrote all of the songs on the album except one, which was and that was at Jimmy's insistence that we record Jumpin' Jack Flash by Rolling Stones. And I was like, are you really? So he says, yeah, I think that song is just so great. And I said, okay, well, what does it mean? He says, it doesn't matter. He just has such grit in his voice. So, okay. So I recorded that. So, but anyway, on that album, Jimmy had written a song called Someone Is Standing Outside.
Yeah.
And it was a song that he wrote as a tribute to his father. And his father was a minister. Jimmy grew up in Oklahoma, and he was background same, choir, playing the piano and so forth in this part. So he wrote this for his dad, and the song is about love. It's about taking care of other people, caring about other people, and to me, and I just thought that the song was a very good, positive song for now. And so I called Jimmy and asked, what they think about it. And he said he thought it was a good idea. And that was around maybe April. And I didn't hear back from him till it was around June. May or June. But at this time, though, he had rewritten the lyrics, some of them, to make them more modern. And he had also gotten this choir out of Canada, a young people's choir at a high school from Canada to do the background. And so Jimmy recorded the track, which was just a piano track in New York. I did the vocals in Los Angeles. The children's choir was recorded. Everybody was in their own individual bedrooms in Canada. And our producer was in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, really, that's what the world we are in, and the technology.
It is, yeah. And
it's our guy tonight that's making this all happen. Yay to you.
Yeah, so that's how that came about. And and Jimmy felt also he was moved to it because I think he had gone to let's see, some event in New York. He lives in New York, and he had seen the Black Lives Matter march, and he wanted to do something as well. So that's how it came.
I love that, like what you said. I mean, if we don't understand the importance of taking care of one another now, I don't think we ever are.
It's so important that you are your brother's keeper.
That's right.
You just got to think about it that way.
And that the song is beautiful. I think we've got that also to be able to share with our viewers and listeners tonight. It's amazing. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Ah, wow.
You know, those vocals were the vocals were arranged by one of the children in that of that choir.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just so beautiful and powerful. And again, it's these connections that make it all worthwhile, you
Yeah.
know, the good and the bad, and what you've been able to bring to the stage, to people's lives, you know, that was the other thing I enjoyed so much, not only in your Motown show here, but just, of course, again, being, you know, having a few moments to talk with you. And for those of you who maybe haven't had a chance to see Thelma live, don't miss that opportunity. And those of you out there that have an opportunity to bring her to your venue, because not only is there they're the fabulous music that we all just want to sing and dance and all that, but it was also the opportunity to talk to Thelma. Like, so we did a little meet and greet afterwards, and you know, you were so gracious, and you know, security had to kind of run a few off. Like, we got to go. She's got to go to bed now. She's got to play bed. But you know, again, to just tell a little bit of your story, and you know, I know you said you grew up singing in church, and you know, like Aretha, and these, you know, that was that spiritual piece to what brought you, and then you just have this God-given talent, you know.
Yeah. Well, I started singing when I was 3, they tell me.
Wow.
And the lady that discovered that I could sing, or learned that I could sing, was the piano player for our church Sunday school.
Okay.
And so, you know, and that's just typical of every church, you know, Southern, I don't know, doesn't have to be Southern, but Black church. It could be Mississippi, Philadelphia, or wherever it is. And if there's a kid that's in the choir or doing something in church that can speak well, or can remember speeches, or they just call them speeches, they are automatically grabbed up and put up on a stage right away. And so you start to get that support and the feeling of from the people in the church that you can do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And I just believed them.
Well, that confidence, yeah.
Maybe that's true. Let me keep at it until I think I was maybe now it's like about after high school, and I said, you know, I think I'm still want to be a singer. And my mother said, "You what? Have you lost your mind? You got the craziest person ever." But let me say, once she came to the club and she saw that I was doing, you know, that I knew how to do this thing, she became my biggest supporter. And had it not been for my mother, I'm certain, as I sit here, I would not be doing this, because my mother she took care of my children. I had 2 children, and my mother helped me raise my children so that I could do this.
You could do it.
Yeah. Once she saw that that I wasn't being too crazy, yeah. But yeah, so but that is where it started, and like I said, that's the way it is for most Black kids. I know for sure in our churches.
Right.
Yeah.
There was fostering that talent and recognizing that talent, and you know, and like I said, that's just, you know, some people have to work a little harder. I think I told you I had a little band here, and then we just did some cover tracks, and I told people, I said, I'm not a great singer. I can act like I can sing.
You have a great personality, Kristin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You and I we're gonna get to see each other again one day soon. I know that because I consider you a lifelong friend and just a real treasure. And it was an honor for us to have you here in South Carolina. So we know, so we've got the virtual content we can get to all the time.
Yeah.
The Motown show, you'll start, to when, do we have some tentative dates?
Well, right now, my first date is May 8th, 2021.
2021. Okay, but we got a date. We got a date.
And there's a disco cruise.
Ooh.
In February 22.
22. Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, planning ahead is the name of the game right now.
I'm booked.
I want to go on the disco cruise. Excuse me, I'm writing that down right now. February 2022.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by then, I'm going to have all the
this will be all the time. And, you know, you can be out there without, you know.
Right. The math. Right. That's right. That's right. Well, you do have a Facebook page because I know I follow you. And you've got an Instagram. I know
Instagram and Twitter.
All of those things. So those of you who might not have had a chance to pay attention to what's going on with Thelma, do yourself a favor and start following her because she's just a remarkable talent and she's still just doing great things. And I can't wait to see you again. I really can.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to see you either.
Well, I think we're, you know, is anything else that you want to talk about, or is there anything we should touch on before we both go? I go get dinner. It's 7:30 here on the East Coast. You got a little bit earlier for you.
Yes, it's about almost cocktail time here.
I know, that's right. Might need to go get a martini. But yeah,
I think we covered it, Kristin.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I love the yellow too.
Oh, thank you. I thought I'd be bright and sunshiny.
Well, I still stick with, you know, my basic black. And I got my rain boots on, but
and I have my Uggs on because it's cold.
Well, we have had a great time, and I want.
And thank you for letting me put on. I did makeup today.
See, that's
I haven't been wearing makeup. You know how that's been.
Yeah, did you get some lashes?
I did lashes.
Listen, I put some lashes on just to go sit by the pool one day. I said, you know that when you.
I know you have to do it because you forget.
I'm like, I've got a friend. I'm like you. I don't have a pool, but I have a friend with a pool. So at some point during quarantine, I said, I'm putting on my fake eyelashes and some red lipstick, and I'm just gonna sit by the pool.
Sit by the pool and be cute.
Well, you look fabulous, and you just still amaze me with your energy and your charisma and your just raw talent. So thank you for spending a little time with me tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, the lockdown folks, all of you out there that have made this possible, thank you. And keep tuning in. They're putting together some great shows. And Motown legend Thelma Houston doesn't get much better. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thanks, Ben.
Bye, Ben.